The National Organizing Committee for the Gambia's 58th Independence Celebration under the Office of the President on Thursday organized a public forum at Sadauda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center to mark this year's Independence Anniversary celebration under the theme Democracy, a Recipe for Peace and Development. The Gambia on Saturday, February 18th will celebrate 58 years of independence from British colonial rule. The aim of the event is for citizens across all sectors, both public and private, to reflect on strategies in connection on the theme in an effort to foster understanding of democracy, peace and development. In his opening remarks, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Dauda Ejalo, highlights the importance of democracy in a peaceful country.
Democracy can promote peace and development in several ways. Key among them are accountability. Democracy allows citizens to hold their leaders accountable for their actions, which in turn fosters a culture of transparency and reduces corruption. This leads to a more effective and efficient use of public resources, thereby promoting development. Rule of law. Democracy is built on rule of law, which provides a framework for protecting human rights, promoting justice and equality, and resolving disputes in peaceful manners. This ensures that people can live in peace and security, free from violence and coercion.
The first panel of the forum brought together young people from diverse backgrounds who reflected on the issues surrounding the theme of the forum. Among the panelists were Lala Toure, a women's rights advocate, and Usman Toure, a young Pan-Africanist.
While I would agree that the Gambia's democratic process is commendable, we've had successful elections. I think my predecessor has talked about that before, so I will not belabor that point. We've also performed fairly well in international economic programs that we have. But today I want to talk about the things that we do and how they impact on my sector. In 2016, before the election, my sector, the banking sector, was only able to mobilize deposits of around $17 billion. This is just before the elections. Today, by the end of December 22, we are talking about deposit mobilization of over $54 billion. So 17 billion to 54 billion is a huge difference. And I think we can give credit for that to peace and stability.
So we must then pay attention to the fact that we are no longer young as a country. We have to work and establish something concrete for this generation and generations of Gambians to come.
And as a young Gambian woman who is very passionate about seeing change, I would not come here and not talk about the need for the empowerment of women and young people as we are having these conversations on democracy and development and bringing about change. We need to provide the spaces for women and young people. Democracy is great, but democracy is even stronger when women and young people are given the spaces that are needed for them to explore their talent, for them to showcase their potential, for them to add their voices to governance, for them to participate and be represented. It's not only enough to participate. We have in our political history, women and young people have been active participants in politics. They've been active participants in governance. They've been active participants in elections. The last election data shows the significant number of Gambian women and young people who actually registered to vote, and they did vote, and they were a part of the processes. So how do we move from having them participate to having them being represented?
The second panel of the forum teases legal, social, and political issues in the exercise of democratic rights to maintain peace and enhance sustainable development. The panel brought together officials from different fields, including academics and lawyers. They also reflect on the theme of democracy, a recipe for peace and development.
If you're not able to enforce that, there is a problem. The creation and enforcement of equitable labor laws, employment laws, I'm sorry, it's a bit technical, not as fun, but that is the reality of the work that we do, engaged in ensuring that the rule of law is upheld and creating access and opportunity for all, and this includes women. Earlier speakers spoke about how women need to be more empowered, need to be more included if this democracy is going to work. We have 51% of the population. And inclusion doesn't just mean the clapping and being present. It means being in decision-making positions, being in the National Assembly, being anywhere from the top, where decisions are made that affects the lives of men, women, and children of this.
I want to start to say that the multi-party democracy we have in the Gambia is real because it dates to 1951. Therefore, we have seamlessly experienced 72 years of uninterrupted multi-party democracy. This illustrious record has served, and we can see in its several characteristics: inclusion, regular multi-party free and fair elections, right to assembly, media rights, strict adherence to human rights-based foreign policy, and accountability. Now, I also should say in passing that it is to the credit of this democratic experience that so far we have had no leader who has attempted to truncate the lifespan of our parliament. Our parliaments, for example, have never been prorogued or dissolved before it was due.
Pierre Njai, Edward Francis Small, Reverend John Kolifai, and Sadauda Kairaba Jawara took up the battle to free our country from the yokes of colonialism. As a young state, author Berkeley Rice described the Gambia as an improbable nation, and as it were, an improbable nation was born. The Gambia attained the political kingdom with peculiar development challenges relative to our small size, limited natural resources, and underdevelopment. Despite the political and socio-economic difficulties, the improbable nation recorded many positive achievements in the areas of democracy, human rights, and foreign policy.
In his closing remarks, the Minister of Information, Lamin Queen Jami, had this to say.
I cannot conclude this exercise without paying reflection on the founding fathers of our motherland, those who had strived here before us, who in the name of the Gambia took their time, took every trouble to put things together until we attain what we are now celebrating as 58 years of nationhood. Those founding fathers must be remembered and prayed for without them, this gathering would not have been. And we therefore thank them.
The Gambians' Independence Day is celebrated on February 18th every year to mark the anniversary of the Gambians' liberation from British colonial rule in February 1965. Reporting for Kerr Fatou, I am Ramatulai Jao.